It's manga time, or ANIMU, depending on how you watch it. Today we're gonna have a look at the figma number 537. It's Yoh Asakura from Shaman King. And I gotta say, I don't watch the new show, but Shaman King, the manga, was one of, just many years ago, one of the early mangas I picked up, and I read the entire line, and I liked it. I thought the fights were great, the characters looked cool, and the only thing I really despise about it is the ending. Because I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending of the original sucks. Now I know they're gonna rectify that in the new show, and I'm really looking forward to that, but now we're gonna have a look at the main character, Yoh Asakura. Gotta love this chilled out, nonchalant face he has on. So, size comparison, well, not size comparison, size of the figure, 13 centimeters to the top of the head, which means we are going up to 5.1.5. So, size comparisons. Here's Jolter, Figma Tanjiro, Konata cosplaying Harui, my previous review Ryza, the Sage figure art Son Goku, Naka Michelangelo, and Darkseid. For your look in detail, I want to have first and foremost a look at the proportions, because this is like a special kind of style that the anime has with, as you can tell, a lot more of a bigger head and bigger limbs, like the giant feet, and the hands are also fairly big, so I think it really nails it. Here's like a picture of the original character from the artwork, and yeah, I'm happy with it overall. Now let's have a look at the face sculpt. This expression, that's so the character. He's just so chill, and that's one of the coolest aspects of this guy, like straight up cool. And then we have the headphones, which has a little bit more of a glossy finish on it, and we have that going on all throughout the figure. It's also very nicely painted, by the way. For the detail, there's like, I don't even see any bleeding, and if it is, it's very little, very small. Got the spiky hair, which is painted in like a matte black. And then we're going down to the necklace, which again has a little bit more of a shine to it, so a little bit more glossy, and the line that goes around his neck. It looks good. So then we have the shirt. Like the paint on the shirt, I feel like it's a little bit too thick at parts, and it seems like, well, it has a little bit of color difference because the part that covers the torso, obviously, is soft plastic, so it doesn't hinder the articulation. But as such, it looks a little bit more shiny, and that's just the material. That's not really much they can do about that than the rest. Like the arms of the figure have like a lot more of a matte paint job. We have a little bit of wrinkles in the shirt, just to make it look a little bit more detailed, because obviously there's not that much detail on the figure, but what's supposed to be there is on here, and it looks good. And we have the belt buckle, which has there's something going on with the belt buckle. I don't know, like something with the paint. It seems like they had a little bit of an issue there, so there's a weird spot right in the middle. It looks nice and metallic, and the belt going once again back to the matte black and ugly green pants. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's just an ugly paint. If I can be a fashionista here for a second. Probably don't have the way I dress, but anyway. That's beside the point, and down to the feet with them big sandals, have like the wooden sandals on the lower half, and the straps going on with a little bit more metallic on there. And yeah, overall, I mean, I don't have any problems with the paint. That's always something that's not a hit or miss. We have lots of bleeding, but this guy looks pretty clean. The articulation is super standard Figma stuff. First and foremost, the head. You have the ball hinge, which ends on a ball in the back of the neck, and they hollowed it out nicely enough, so it does go forward, does go to the back, and it does tilt side to side, mostly on the ball, and you can also rotate it. No problem there. Now, what's weird about the shoulders? You do have the classic ball hinge that goes into another ball into the chest area, so you can bring that back and forth and kind of shift it up and down. And you really have to play around with that, because I feel like the ball joint in the shoulder itself is put in really low, because if you shift it down, you're not really gonna get any movement. Well, you get movement, but it doesn't really go as high up as I want it to. But if you give it that shift up there, then the joints are exposed, but you get some more motion. So it's kind of a weird thing. I think it looks clean though, however. That's something I'm gonna give them. They really hit the joints in this for this guy very well. And then you have the sleeve, which you can't rotate around, but you do have the ball hinge in there, which you can bring around, so you do have that added articulation. Simple ball hinge for the fist, which is completely unhindered, so it does go back and forth quite a lot, and also you can swivel it around. And then for the chest area, goes forward, very much so. To the back, it's kind of getting pulled back by all the plastic of his shirt, and the hips also, by the way. You can pretty much rotate this all the way around. Again, completely unhindered. The hips, they don't lie, and ladies, you can pull this down quite far, I'm just gonna say, and move forward side to side, and obviously all the way around. Like, geez, this is one of the more nimble characters, but obviously that's due to the design, because there's not really much hindering it. The leg moves forward, moves out to the side, and moves to the back, and you can also rotate it on the ball over here. And you have the simple ball hinge in the knee, and you can actually rotate this part down here. So you can line it up with the foot, because the foot is a little bit limited though due to it. So it moves back and forth, up and down, and you do have a pivot. And once again, the pivot, you get more out of it the more you move around the curled up pants. I guess this is what this is supposed to be. Probably some people want to ask me if you can take this off, and I wonder the same. Yeah, you could, you know, if you want to mash up the figures just for purposes like that. Some people do that. I really don't, but yeah, there you go. You could take that off, and it just looks weird, but still, you can. For your accessories, let me get out the standard stuff first. You got the Figma base, which is included with every Figma ever. You have these joints, you can move it around, and you have this piece, which you can take off to just have a regular pack. Now, what's special about this one, you have actually an extra arm, which has hinges. Well, this is on a ball, and then a hinge over here, and a hinge over here, and another ends on another ball, so you can connect the little guy, which we'll get to, but also here's the Figma back, which is included with every Figma ever. Now, that being out of the way, first and foremost, you have an unsheathed and a sheathed version of the sword Harusame. If I'm pronouncing this correctly, if I don't, you will certainly correct me in the comments. Has some nice gold and silver paint job on there, a little bit more metallic, especially on the blade itself. And then obviously here's the sheathed version. I just have the handle and the sheath itself, which is a little bit more shiny again. And if you don't, you can't really connect the blade to the sheath, but if you just want to display it unsheathed, you just take the handle off, and there you go. Actually, one of my personal highlights of this, a necessary addition, but wow, does this guy look cool. It's the spirit of Amidamaru. I'm sorry, I'm slip of the tongue there. Very glossy looking, and I just love the printed on face. It's amazing. It looks so good, and he's so pissed. And the small detail with his little knives and the shoulder pads, it looks fantastic. I couldn't ask for anything else. The blades, you can move those around. The swords are just packed in, and also the big hair part, the puffy hair part, which comes disassembled in the packaging. You have to assemble his long fiery ponytail, and also the little knives, little swords over there. But yeah, this guy rocks, love it. And then you have the Oracle Bell, which is a different arm piece, so you just swap that out and you have the Oracle Bell, and you know when it's time for the Shaman fight. And also there's the Mortuary Tablet, very dark, very simple looking, looks like a gravestone, but that's what it's supposed to be, somewhat. And then for the hands, let's see, actually this one is not for the sword, too small, so we have these two for the swords. I don't want to squeeze it in there. I have the open hands, and then for the big hands, let me try with the tablet on this one. Goes in there, very tight fit, and then the tablet on this one doesn't really work, so that is probably to hold on to the sheathed version of the sword. So we cover that. And there we go. And finally, the faces. You got the yelling face and the happy face with the closed eyes. Beautiful looking, and yeah, no complaints there. Final thoughts. I have zero complaint with this figure. I say the word clean. I said it a couple of times, and I guess it's really what this is. This figure is clean all throughout it. I have had zero pain issues. Of course, that can change from figure to figure. I guess I just got lucky on the quality control for this one. And yeah, I mean, it's anime goodness, it's manga goodness. They really hit the nail on the head when it comes to the design, the art style. It just looks good, and it has all the accessories it has to. The little Amidamaru spirit is amazing. I love it. I'm really so cool looking. However, I guess the one kind of tiny note I can make is the arm to hold up Amidamaru spirit is not the tightest. So I'm not saying it disconnect, but it has kind of trouble holding it up. So as you can tell on this one, it kind of just hovers over the hand, but the hand almost like kind of holds up the part of the base. So there you go. I guess that's the only negative thing I can come up with for this figure, because I love it. 100% recommended, especially if you're a Shaman King fan. And even if you're not, I think this is something cool to have a look at it at least, and maybe you enjoy it. I do. That's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever. Yoh Asakura, what?